Hello everybody, my name is Nick and welcome to the Vizrt booth here at NAB 2019. I'm going to run through a simple scenario for you that you've likely come across over the course of this week. At some point you've invariably walked through a bar and seen multiple screens on in a sports bar with wall-to-wall sports coverage in your face. Now as a sports content producer, how do you go through this and how do you look and make your product stand out? How do you look at this and say, how do I get people to focus on my production over everybody else's? Well, Vizrt has the solutions for that. Starting with Viz Libro, we were able to break down some of the biggest plays in sports over the course of history and actually bring extra analysis tied to the field and to extra camera angles throughout the course of history. This allowed you more detail and more focus on the plays that you were trying to break down and actually bring extra depth analysis to both your analysts and your play-by-play commentators in breaking down the biggest plays in sports. Now, as long as there's been sports productions, there's been analysis surrounding it. So we've started out with just simple being able to replay the video repeatedly and breaking down details and having your analyst actually go through some of the finer details of the play. So as soon as you started seeing big plays in sports, you were breaking them down. From then we moved to basic telestration. So we were able to draw on the actual screen and break down a play and bring extra levels of detail and knowledge to your viewer. This increased fan interaction and the ability to understand how these plays happen and how the sports event broke down and actually brought extra analysis to them. And then with the advent of Viz Libro, we were able to bring tied to field graphics to everybody. You were able to draw on the field of play, track players, and also the ability to do camera moves, so unique views moving between two camera angles built into Viz Libro using the video coming into your production. This revolutionized the sports industry, and we did that again last year with Viz Libro AR. So if you direct your attention to the top screens, we'll be able to show you Viz Libro AR, which launched last year, which actually allows you to bring the tracked camera or information to your studio and place the AR field in your studio as an element. So as we go through an animation here, the camera will change, and you'll see I have the camera moving into the field, into my studio, and actually point out exactly what I'm trying to reference and move around the field of play and point out exactly what I'm breaking down. This removed a lot of ambiguity and brought a lot of extra detail to your analysis and allowed you to break down the bigger plays in a more unique way. And then this year, we launched Viz Libro's live virtual presenter. So the ability to bring in the virtual presenter and your presenter on a green screen to the live game. So you can see on the clips above, we're playing through this video, and when we get to the sideline and a pause point here, we're actually going to insert Chris Black into our video, and he's going to be able to break down the play and interact with the play in real time. This can be done either using a live video input in a green screen and using the tracking from Viz Libro. So you'll see we'll move down to a second angle, and Chris is actually standing next to the analyst and breaking down this play, again using just a green screen and playing out this video. And while that's all well and good for pre and post production, what happens when you want to break this down live? Looking at the big screen, that's where Viz Arena comes in. So you can see some basic analysis being tied to the field of play and keyed to the field of play. And this can be done both live and in replays. This system was designed to do extra analysis in a replay, but allowing you to tie graphics to the field in a touchscreen format. You can also do augmented reality graphics as well as data-driven graphics. So it turns your stadium into a virtual studio. We can do AR graphics, data-driven graphics, lineups, you name it. We can bring in AR graphics that can be brought into the Viz engine and bring them to your field of play, making your production stand out even more. And what better representation of tied-to-field data-driven graphics is there than the down and distance lines in NFL football? So you can see we've got the lines on the field of play and the actual information for down and distance all being filled in by the score bug or the score clocks that are already in your stadium. So the lines and the information are being generated automatically, and the tracking is all being done optically. So we're not actually inserting any or installing anything onto the camera. We're tracking the lines in the field of play. This allows you a much simpler and easier setup and simpler way to oversee this, and allows you to focus on your production. And as you increase the amount of productions that you do, how do you start to generate revenue? How do you add revenue streams and be able to afford all of these ever expensive sport rights? Well, Viz Arena can help with that as well. You'll see as we pan through, I'm able to live track the lines, again, doing this visually and optically alone, and place the Vizrt logo at the center of the pitch. The players can run over top of this, interact with it in real time, and it won't inflict or run into any problems with your production or add any commercial breaks or interrupt your production. You can add extra revenue streams and add extra advertising in real time over top of the course of play. And using that same single control interface, we can actually control multiple Viz engines. So I can do this with one or several outputs using different render engines and the same container. So as I place the graphics for different streams and different engines, I can keep track of how long each one of these graphics have been tied to the field and on the field and play these graphics out. It'll give me a report at the end of the game as to how long each logo has been on the field and tells me who's been getting most visibility and who's been actually getting their logo on in real time. This allows me to regionalize or separate my streams to different parts of the country, different cities, different states, and allows you more flexibility and generate more revenue from your production. Those have been some of the sports solutions we have on display here at Vizrt's booth at NAB 2019. If you do have any questions about them, please don't hesitate to ask me or any of my colleagues on the booth. If you stick around, we've got Chris Black coming up just after me with an introduction to Viz 4.